Hey YouTube family, Mr. Black Mamba 305 here with you. And today, as you guys can tell by the video, we're talking about Glock, why it's so popular, and why people still buy the Glock. And this is no knock on people that would like to buy Glocks. It's just me just not really a huge Glock fan. I purchased a Glock because I kind of was just moving with the crowd, but me personally, I'm not a huge Glock fan, and this is definitely probably going to be my one and only Glock. I might do some things later to it just to have one of those Gucci Glock kind of thing, because I carry this every now and then, but it's not really my first choice. I rather carry the CZ P10C, or as you guys can tell, I'd rather carry my Beretta APX Centurion, which I love very much. And I'm also thinking of getting the Beretta APX A1, the compact carry. I think that's, to me, I think that's a way better gun. Before I go on, guys, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead, hit the subscription. If after you watch a video, you like the content, just go ahead and hit that subscription button. That can put me in the algorithm and get me to have my videos out there just a little bit more. And I just want to give a major shout out. If you're subscribed, thank you very much. Thank you for returning and watching this video. Your comments and your feedbacks are always welcome. I'm never one to, just rag on somebody for any of the comments that they give. I always welcome dialogue and discussion. And I just want to give a major shout out to people outside of the United States that watch my video that really support me. I'm talking in Pakistan, in Australia, in New Zealand, all those countries, and the reason why I know this because you go to the YouTube, they have YouTube as its own little analytic section. You go to it, it tells you where you get a lot of views from people who actually watch your videos, watch it through commercials, stuff like that. So I want to thank everybody outside of the United States that are watching these videos. Thank you guys very much from the bottom of my heart. Now, with all that said, guys, let's get into the discussion. And these guns have been safety checked. None of them are obviously are going to be loaded while I'm talking to them. The magazines are loaded, but they won't ever be put inside the firearm for safety reasons. Always stay safe out there. And pretty much that's it. A viewer asked me about my watch from a previous video. This is a Samsung version 5 of Samsung Galaxy Watch 5, I think. It's a pretty nice watch. Does a lot of stuff. Tells the time. You can pretty much, I track my steps. Today I've got about 6,000 steps, 2,900 steps over what I'm supposed to do. You can track your workout, your riding, your running, exercise, so forth. The watch itself can do so many things. I really like this. I've banged this up so much because I use it all the time. You can take your heart rate, your stress level, O2 levels, the temperature, all that stuff. But anyway, it's not about the watch. Let's get back to the video. All right, so before I go on and talk about the Glock and why people still buy the Glock, and I just don't understand why, let's give you a little bit of history. All right, so as you guys might know, the Glock was created in Austria, by a curtain rod manufacturer. Yeah, for all people, a curtain rod. This guy, produced curtain rod. His name is Gaston Glock, and he's from Austria. And he wanted to create a gun unlike anything else. Of all the firearms that were out there, Gaston Glock didn't like what was out there, so he asked the people, could he create a firearm that was different and better than the ones that he saw? I don't know why he thought that, because CZ's been around for, I think, longer than Glocks, and but I guess he wasn't satisfied with the CZs that were there, so he wanted to create something new. They ended up, I guess, starting, what's this company called? Glock Guess or something like that. I think Glock Guess. And that is the name of the company, Glock Guess, out of Austria. So he wanted to create a better gun, did his research, try to find out, how he can improve on what was out there. So he created a polymer frame, short recoil operated, lock breech, semi-automatic pistol. So that was a handful for me to say. Actually, I had to try to remember that, but I had to try to put all of that stuff together. And so he created what we know now as the Glock. The first Glock he created was the Glock 17. So that's with a 5.5-inch barrel. I think it came with like 17 rounds, and pretty much that's where Glock got its start from. Now, I'm not going to say Glock is not a good gun, but for me, the amount of improvements I've seen, before I get into that, let me finish up with this. So pretty much, it was, Austria's manufacturers is called Glock Gez. It's in Austria. So the effective range for a Glock, as with most 5-inch a hammer or striker fire pistol, is about 50 to 60 yard. Not to say you can't go further than that. Somebody like Jerry Michalik, he can shoot like 100 yard upside down with a 2-inch snub nose revolver. So I'm pretty sure he can shoot this out to 150 yards if he really tried. But and the really effective range for these firearms are about 50 to 75 yards. Most combat people are using within, self-defense or, shooting, if a police shooting, it's going to take within 50 yards or so, or even closer. If you have to go beyond that, then it makes no sense to use a pistol. Then you need to take out your rifle if you're a police officer, your patrol rifle, or if you're defending a house, you need to get something else, shotgun or rifle or AR-15, AK, that type stuff. So that's the effective range. The muzzle velocity, depending on the ammo, is about 375 meters per second. That's about average for most pistols. Again, that also depends on the type of ammo. If you have plus speed, if you have some ammo that is lighter in grainage, then obviously they're going to get a little bit more, but you might give up, effective range, stuff like that. So that's pretty much the muzzle velocity from this. The fire rate on an automatic Glock, I'm not promoting Glock switches, but if this was an automatic pistol, this would be about 1100, 1200 rates per minute, RPM. So just a little bit of history before I go on. And a lot of people, based on how they promote the Glock, man, you think that this thing was born in America, man. But this gun is not born in America. It's born in Austria. How the Glock got introduced to the United States was that during, I think it's 1988, which, America's war and the drug, the drug industry, a lot of guys had their Uzis and they were just spraying automatic fire at police officers. The officers wanted something that was lighter to carry, more accurate, carried more rounds, and so they introduced the Glock to the American market. And it came in right at the time when they needed it, man, because they needed to fight back at the drug cartels, the drug industry, and they wanted to fight back with some reliability and accuracy. So this came in at a good time. So compared to the criminals, they want to have something comparable. So how this gun became popular in the United States is once it hit the United States, then just Glock with their promotions and, making the gun cheaper for police departments to have. Obviously, the guns had a longer slide, could reach out longer than, whatever guns they had before. More capacity. The trigger was great. The sights were not bad. They just wanted something else to reach out and touch the enemy and do it at a fairly decent job. So what Glock did was offer a lot of these departments, incentives to buy their guns in droves, I should say. Contracts that kept them locked in for years, and obviously you guys know that the gun is so popular. Then military seeing that this gun is doing so great in America, they went ahead and adopted, since pretty much United States is in the forefront of firearms and we use a lot of guns more than many other countries in the world. So, and then obviously with promotion in movies, then Glock got more and more popular, more law enforcement across the country. Movies started taking on the Glocks, and then everybody now, once you decide to get a firearm, guess what's the first thing you do? You ask for is a Glock. So Glock pretty much hired this gentleman called Carl Walters, and he's pretty much like some kind of genius salesman. This man went around, and he was just preaching up the Glock. He would go to trade shows with, pretty much half-naked women trying to promote the gun. And you know how Americans and naked women with guns are, so that's not true. I just had to throw that in there, but you know how it is. This man, he really came in and he really pushed the Glock into the American market. Again, with Hollywood, police departments, incentives, so forth, the Glock became super popular. But for me, the problem that I have with the Glock is that, the Glock is pretty much, I think, not outdated, because it served its time and it's still pretty popular. It goes bang. almost 99.9 of the times that you fire this firearm. But at the same time, the Glock itself, I think it's pretty outdated. If you compare the Glock with a Beretta, not necessarily, well, I'm showing this one because this is the one I carry. Yes, my slide is a little banged up, but I love this gun and I carry it a lot. The only reason I have this old grip on this firearm is because I love old grip. I was actually thinking of putting an old grip on this one, but this is the Glock 19 Gen 5, and this, it's only recently they really start putting some deep serrations in the Glock. This one, when I purchased this one, I purchased with the Marigold slide, so you have the Marigold, the little orange dot in the front. These are actually metal, but not all Glocks come with metal. They come with plastic sights, and that's been a complaint customers and law enforcement have been made for years. And Glock, I don't think Glock has even upgraded to metal sights just yet. And so I had to, when I purchased this one, instead of let my life depend on some plastic sight that could possibly fall off if I'm racking this on my shoes or the sidewalk or my belt to fall out, I decided to upgrade with the Marigold slides. And these are actually pretty good. The acquisition is pretty nice. That big orange glow sight at the front makes it really nice. But they didn't start really putting these deep serrations in this gun until lately they start doing it, because they see that a lot of companies coming out. You have companies like Canic, you have companies Smith & Wesson with their 2.0 series, and they're giving you everything you need: deep undercuts, great stippling, slides that are trimmed down to not to be so ever. If you ever fire a Glock, yes, it's a pretty nice shooter, but this mass coming back does add a little bit of recoil. Guns like CZP-10C with that low bore axis and that deep beaver tail in the back, that comes standard on pretty much, all the CZs that I've owned since however many years ago. And Glock, the thing I just don't understand with people who love Glock is that, they love this gun so much, but Glock gives them so little, and yet still the gun still costs so much. If you want a gun, unless they're on sale, these things are $500 to $600. Okay, you're not gonna find anything in this budget price range. For instance, this is the Beretta APX Centurion. This was in the same trial. This was for the military contract that Sig Sauer won, and this went through the trial, 10,000 rounds, no hiccups, nothing. But the military didn't choose this, and yet still this gun costs about $350. Depending on where you go, you can find this thing for $300. The new Beretta APX A1 is about $400, and it comes off the rip with optic ready. It has better serrations, because the Beretta APX A1 is the upgraded version to the Beretta Centurion, which is this is the smaller version of the Beretta APX. They pretty much just improved this all the way around, and I'm definitely getting that as my next carry gun. So hint, that is my next carry gun, guys, the Beretta APX A1. And I love this Beretta APX Centurion. If you shoot this and then shoot a Glock, I don't know, man. The Glock is nothing compared to the Centurion. It's a cheaper gun, and I know you listen to people like Honest Outlaw. He loves to say, "Oh, this is a cheap gun. Berettas are cheap. This gun is a cheap gun," but it is on the same quality as this Glock, and probably even better. Beretta has 500 years of manufacturing guns. I don't think they make any less of a gun than Glock. When they were making Glock, Mr. Gaston Glock was still probably in diapers, so they know what they're talking about when it comes to making guns. But what I don't like about Glocks is, like, you have 20 generations of Glock, and I'm not exaggerating. Glock Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5, up to Gen 16. They have so much generation. This is the latest generation, and obviously you have the Glock Gen 5, Glock 19 Gen 5, which is the one they put out for the trial. Has a little bit longer slide, carries about 17, optic ready. I didn't go that route, but it took them so long, since 1988, to come up optic ready, to give you all the features that most guns have been doing for years now. before I go out and buy a Glock, I'd buy a Smith & Wesson 2.0, CZP-10C, so many other guns out there. Canic, that gonna give you, it's gonna give you way more than this Glock. Glock gives you 3 magazines. A lot of them give you 2, but the magazine, to me, I really don't care about that. Some of the upgrades people do to Glocks that you get out of the box with a lot of other firearms, again, like the CZP-10C, Smith & Wesson 2.0, Berettas, so forth. Like, the main upgrade they do, because like I said before, the serrations that these have are recent. They weren't so deep before. They were just barely on the surface. You could, after the time you pull them, your hands are sliding off. If you have blood, if it's wet, stuff like that, unless you have gloves on where you can really crank on that and pull it back, you were going to slide off. Like your hand was just going to slide off of it. Yes, it goes bang 99% of the time, but that's not the only reason why I buy a firearm. I do buy guns for looks. And a lot of guys, the reason why you buy a gun is because it looks nice nowadays. You guys can say whatever you want, but that is a fact. So that is one of the reasons. The Glock just looks so blocky. It's been known blocky. And even with this Gen 5 pistol, the only thing they really did to the slide, pardon me guys, the only thing they really did to the slide is they deepened the serrations a little bit and shaved down on the front part of the slide just to cut down on weight. And that's all they give you. A gun like this, it looks like a big blocky gun, but I'm telling you guys, it's not. It feels, they're both the same size. I guess the Beretta might be a little bit heavier, but I'm telling you, the slide, the mass of the slide coming back is super soft. They've already, you can see out, I don't know if you guys can see the angle, but they shave this down. The way they shave it, they take off so many of the slide already. As you guys can see, this is not really a straight front end of the slide. It actually slants a little bit. They chopped, and that's ounces off that slide. And you might think it's a big blocky gun. It looks blocky, but honestly, this thing shoots so soft. It is so soft. The slide is super easy to rack. It took me no effort to do that a while ago. With the Glock, they give you this tiny little slide release, man. And this is an improve. This one is actually, this one actually is it's pretty wide now because, they've actually upgraded. It's an upgraded version to the Glock, and it's easier to slide now. But previous Glock, a lot of people had to do, extended slide lever. It's ridiculous. For 5 generations, generation 5 is when you're figuring out you got to extend that magazine, because some people don't want to dig their thumb into getting this thing, and maybe me constantly digging my thumb into this can cost me my life, because I'm trying to find the tiny little lever right there, before I get killed. If you guys can see, look at the difference between the 2 levers, guys. Look how generous and well engineered this one is compared to the same old little bent piece of metal 3-slide thing that Glock has right there. Come on, man. If you guys look at any Gucci Glocks, when someone buys a Glock, what's the first thing that they do? They want to cut into the slide. They send it off to get milled, to take out piece of here, to loosen up there. They're buying slides that are lighter. Why? Why do you think they're doing that? Because the slides are big and massive and heavy. You listen how that slide just click forward. I don't know. Let me do that again. And imagine constantly firing that over and over and over. That is a lot of recoil. I'm not saying other guns don't have any recoil, but look at the difference, guys. Look at the no, you tell me. I'm not doing. Look how easy that took me. And look, the difference is night and day. You could only feel it. It feels softer because the slide is not as heavy. And this is Gen 5, and it's still pretty heavy. I have this gun, and I'm saying to myself, honestly, it's a nice shooter, but it still has a lot of recoil. You know what I mean? I was thinking of maybe ordering a Palmetto State Armory slide to put on top of this on my brand new Glock. You know what I mean? But I didn't want to do it because already paid like $200 to have these marigold slices on it. You know, so that's one of the upgrades they're doing. I mean, look what they did. They just shaved off a little piece from here, rounded up a little to cut back on the mass, man. You know, come on, guys. Glock, you guys can do better. All right. I mean, why would I buy a Glock over CZP-10C? That's the slide rise so low, the mass is not so great, and it shoots softer. It's less than the price of a Glock, or right on par, and I'm getting everything that I want with it. You know, a lot of times you'll see this is also an improvement. The mag release. I'm just gonna put it in, guys. Yes, there's a live round in it. Mag release is nice. It doesn't come out with any real force. It just comes out regular. And you guys know what that means. It's just regular. All right? This one is also very generous. It feels nice. It's very ergonomics, very smooth. Just the contours on this thing is way better. But this is a cheaper, this is a $350 gun. And look how much it pushes out the magazine out of it. And I'm not doing it like to prove my point. I'm saying it's better. And other guns kick that magazine out. This is more generous. It feels good. This feels so ergonomic. I mean, it's only recent. And for me, the beaver tail on this, on these two guns. Check out the beaver tail, okay? This comes standard on the APX Centurion, and I love a high beaver tail. This one, if you guys can see, I had to put on the largest back strap to get the beaver tail that I love. That's another upgrade. You know what I mean? Some guns like the CZP-10C, a lot of these guns already come with a deep beaver cut. You know what I mean? Just everything. Look at the difference between the undercut on the trigger guard. All right, the undercut, you can see this one. If I didn't have the whole grip on it, you could see that it's more pronounced. They give you they're more generous with it. You know, the Glock one is just, it's just a little tiny piece there. Whose finger is gonna fit in there? Just some little kid or some small lady? I mean, like, look at that. I mean, yes, I want to ride up on there and get up in there, and I feel like it's pushing my three fingers down. I'm forcing myself to get my finger up on there. You know what I mean? You see a lot of guys customize their Glock. They're digging out that piece right there just to get a larger undercut under the trigger. Tell me that I'm lying. This one, my hand fits in there. You can see all that room I have. Look at the space in between there and the whole grip. It just fits just perfect. If the old grip was not gone, you'll see what a better trigger it is. You know what I mean? Okay, let's talk about other upgrades you're gonna buy your Glock and still do. Okay, I'm not saying Beretta has the best trigger, but I'm saying the CZP-10C and the Smith & Wesson 2.0, they have pretty sweet triggers too. I promise you they do. They have some sweet triggers. You know what I mean? To me, the Glock trigger is okay. You know what I mean? So many guys, when they buy their Glocks, what do? They change out their trigger for better trigger. And not like the other people don't do it, but more so Glock people. Why should I buy a gun for over $500-600 and I have to do all that upgrade? Yes, I'm saying, guys, you don't need a ported slide and barrel. You don't have to give me all that stuff. I understand that takes more work. But why do I have to add more serrations to get that from out of from the manufacturer? Why have to improve to get a better trigger? Give me a better trigger. What Glock is known for doing every year, they do incremental improvements and then charge you more for the same old gun. You know what I mean? Trying to keep up. Innovate. Do things right off the bat. Let's go. Okay, you know, so I just don't understand the plastic sights. I have to go, and so on top of spending $500 and change for this firearm, I have to spend another $150 to get better sights, as opposed to those, you know, plastic sight that they come with. You know what I mean? Beretta, cheap gun, like a lot of these guys love to talk. Okay, guys, look at that. It's a little bit marred up, but this is a metal. This is a metal piece. You can see, if you guys look at it, you can see, you know, how it's rubbed up. And this is metal sights out. And this is a cheaper gun. As Honest Outlaw would love to say, it's a cheap gun, but yet it'll come with metal sights out from the factory. The serrations are nice. You know what I mean? Look how generous the takedown lever is. Look at the takedown lever for this one. You have to shove your finger all the way up in there. Not that it's a problem, but how can Beretta do it and still make it look seamless, where it fits in just fine? How can they give me a generous slide release like that? How can they give me a beautiful mag release like that that feels so smooth and doesn't feel so cheap? You know, look at all of those things that I just showed you. Look at Gen 5, the latest generation of the Glock, and what you're getting. If I want to improve all these things, which all the Gucci Glocks you see, all the Glock fanboys that have their Glocks, that's what they do. Lighten up the slide, changing up the sights, replacing the trigger, extending the mag release, extending the slide release, digging out the undercut, stippling their guns. I'm telling you, I don't see the reason for buying a Glock anymore. I honestly don't. And with firearm technology, Beretta is millennia ahead of Glock. Smith & Wesson has caught up to Glock and surpassed it. If you've seen a Smith & Wesson 2.0, that thing, the grip is amazing, the slide is awesome, the recoil is fantastic. It comes with the same amount of rounds as the Glock. Now they're making that metal frame one. It's optic ready. Like, why would I buy the Glock? You don't need to cut the slide into it. You don't need anything. And the little one Picatinny rail they put there, other companies are giving you more. Why would I buy a Glock anymore? I wouldn't. And guys, you know, that's my theory. I could be wrong, and I know a lot of the guys out there are gonna give me a hard time, you know. And like one of the things I didn't put upon, you see a lot of guys. I think the grip is nice, you know what I mean. But Smith & Wesson, CZ10C, they have better grips. They're more aggressive. They stick to your hand a lot more. A lot of Glock guys, what do? They stipple their grips. So along with changing out the slide, the front and rear sights, they're cutting up the slides. They're extending the slide release, extending the mag release. They're changing out the trigger and stippling the grip. How much more on top of what you pay for the gun did that cost you? By the time you finish Gucciing this out, you could have bought a CZ Orange. You could have bought a 2011. You could bought a 4.5-inch 2011 that would perform way better than a Glock. So why would I buy a Glock anymore? If I'm gonna buy a Glock, do all that Gucci stuff to it, I'm buying a 2011. I'm buying a 2011. You know, this company, what's the company that just came out with a new 2011? If you guys remember, put it in the comment. I think can't come to my mind. I'm having a brain fart right now. But they came out with a 2011, and if you were to buy a Glock upgraded with all these things I talked about, extra mag, you'll buy a 2011 4-inch, and you can carry that round and shoot it like a dream. Guys, again, if you guys like my content, guys, go ahead, like, subscribe, and share my video. I appreciate you guys staying this long watching the video. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do so. If you like the video, share it. Put me in the other algorithm. Give me some subscription. I'd really appreciate that. I want to thank you guys again, everybody from out of the country that watch my videos. I appreciate you. If you guys want to support the channel, give me a super like or hit that thanks button. These videos take time and money to make. Go into the range. You know, if you guys want to show me your love, I appreciate that. Mr. Black Mamba 305, just signing out. Thanks for watching, guys.